Greetings, gods and goddesses in training. Today we're going to be speaking about the lover archetype. I'm going through this book, King, Warrior, Magician, Lover by Robert Moore, and I'm going to be going through this little section, the lover in his fullness, and I want you to really reflect on this.
Uncle?
Carl.
Who?
Of course, this is about the masculine lover, but I think females watching this can also learn from this archetype, okay? As I'm stepping into this character role myself, because I want to integrate the warrior and the lover together, it's very important for us to break this down, not only as a collective, but this is very important for my own character evolution, okay? So it says that the lover is the archetype of play and of display, which is great because it rhymes and it matches very well with my art of seduction archetype, which is the star, and it evolved from the natural into the star, of course.
And I think.
You're glowing. You're like a
Wow.
star.
Why, thank you.
There's a nonchalance that comes with this. It's looking for the fun, it's looking for the nuance, or what's being said is not always the case. It's what's underneath the surface.
That's hella sus, though. Why are you doing that? Like a Bond villain.
I don't know. I'm just doing it.
It's what is being hidden. It's the subtext. Healthy embodiment of being in the world of sensuous pleasure and in one's own body without shame. This is a very important key here, right? A lot of us experience body shame, or we look at our bodies and we think, wow, it's like, you know, I don't like that about my body or whatever. Now, there's ways to work on our own physical bodies, of course, but you also have to understand yourself as a divine being. You are stardust. You are not this physical meat suit, right? If I told you where is your body, you wouldn't even be able to point anywhere, right? Because it's all of this, right? Where does it begin and where does it end? Okay, the body is only a body because of its parts, right? The hand is connected to the elbow is connected to this joint, right? Everything is connected to everything else. It says the lover is deeply sensual, sensually aware and sensitive to the physical world in all of its splendor. So this is about appreciating beauty, appreciating luxury, appreciating the timelessness of nature, okay? The lover is related and connected to them all, drawn into them through his sensitivity. A lot of us, we look at sensitivity as being a negative word. Here it's being used as a very positive word, almost like spidey senses, sensitivity. His sensitivity leads him to feel compassionately and empathetically united with them. For the man accessing the lover, all things are bound to each other in mysterious ways. This is how you play with synchronicities as the lover. You understand that every single scenario is connected to some other scenario. It's almost like you understand the domino effects, but you also understand the connecting the dots principles or pattern recognition through the metaphysical world. He sees, as we say, the world in a grain of sand. He's able to see the macrocosm in the microcosm, that we live, in fact, in a holographic universe, one in which every part reflects every other in immediate and sympathetic union. It isn't just that the lover's energy sees the world in a grain of sand, he feels that this is so. You could pick up a pebble and see the entire world in the pebble. You guys get that? It's a kind of consciousness. It's taking and embellishing the drop in the ocean and the ocean in the drop. So it's a feeling. Okay, it's a sensitivity, it's a feeling. It feels like the world is in this grain of sand. That's very poetic, right? A young boy entered psychotherapy at the insistence of his parents because, as they said, he was very strange. He was, they said, spending too much time alone. What this boy reported, when asked about his supposed strangeness, was that he would go on long walks in the forest until he found a secluded spot. He would sit down on the ground and watch the ants and other insects making their torturous ways through the blades of grass, the fallen leaves, and the other tiny plants on the forest floor. Then, he said, he would begin to feel what the world is like for the ants. He would imagine himself as an ant. He could feel the sensations of the ant as it climbed over the pebbles. To him, these were like huge mountains, when in reality they were rocks. He experienced hunger and the joy and the suffering and the satisfaction of the whole plant and animal world. This is the lover archetype, my friends, and the divine child merging together. This is such a powerful example of this. Have you ever imagined and created an entire storyline in your mind and merged that fantasy with the real world? Were you able to create a world of your own like Walt Disney? He was able to create an entire different world of animation, of cartoons. This is that ability to do so by bringing yourself to the consciousness of nature. This boy was, in our view, accessing the lover in a powerful way. He was instinctively empathizing with the world of things around him. Perhaps he was really feeling as he believed he was. Jung's collective unconscious is the unconscious of human beings as an entire species and contains, as Jung says, the unconscious memories of all that has happened in the lives of the people that have ever lived. But if, as Jung suggested, the collective unconscious appears to be limitless, why stop here? What if the collective unconscious is vast enough to include the impressions and sensations of all living things? Perhaps indeed it includes what some scientists are now calling primary awareness, even in plants. This idea was that there was a universal consciousness is reflected in Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars, who is deeply sensitive to and empathetic towards the whole of his galaxy and feels any subtle changes in the Force or the Tao or the Brahman, right? The substrate. He's noticing the shifts in the substrate. Eastern philosophers have said that we are like waves on the surface of this vast sea. The lover energy has immediate and intimate contact with this underlying oceanic connectedness. Along with sensitivity, of course, there's also passion. And I got this download the other day, guys, that compassion, service to others, and passion, service to self, are like Jedi and Sith, both of our hemispheres coming together to integrate properly. Okay? And we remain the great Jedis who understand I've got to be passionate and compassionate at the same time. I'm not going to be swayed by one and not the other. The primal hungers are felt passionately in all of us, at least beneath the surface. I think, honestly, a lot of Scorpios have this kind of like primal deja vu feeling where they can go back to an old memory and then like fuse and bring things out of that memory that are so intense and so deep. I don't know if any of you Scorpios in the comments can comment on this, but I've experienced that for sure. Being close to the unconscious means being close to the fires of life, and on a biological level, to the fires of life engendering metabolic processes. Love, as we all know, is hot, often too hot to handle, okay? The man under the influence of the lover wants to touch and be touched. He wants to touch everything emotionally and physically, and wants to be touched by everything. He recognizes no boundaries. He wants to live out the connectedness he feels with the world inside, in the context of his powerful feelings outside, in the context of relationships with other people. He wants to experience the world of sensual experience in its totality. What he is known as the aesthetic consciousness. He experiences everything, no matter what it is, aesthetically. All of life is art to him and evokes subtly nuanced feelings. The nomads of the Kalahari are lovers. The lover energy is arising as it does out of the Oedipal child, also the source of spirituality, especially what we call mysticism. In the mystical tradition which underlies and is present in the world's religions, the lover energy, through the mystics, intuits the ultimate oneness of all that there is and actively seeks to experience that oneness in daily life, while it still dwells in a mortal, finite man. For the man accessing the lover, ultimately everything in life is experienced this way, being one with the mystery. While feeling the pain and the poignancy of the world, he feels great joy as well. He feels joy and delight and the sensory experiences of life. Maybe he's like smelling the exotic aromas of the tobaccos that he's ingesting. Maybe he's sensitive to music. Maybe he feels the exquisitely eerie thrumping of the Indian sitar, the swelling of a great symphony, or the ascetic thunk of an Arab clay drum. So this seems to be a very sensuous type of archetype, right, guys? It's very connected to everything around them. So languages are also another way that we can approach the lover's emotional appreciation.
My mom taught me this when I was a baby. I used to say it all the time. So you do a C.
See,
You do your hand.
go ahead.
Just
Okay,
that
what is that?
Cookie.
Cookie.
Because by understanding different cultures, you are almost connecting your love to this energy. Today I was at the mall and I was sending out a beaming love energy from my heart to anybody that I made eye contact with. And they would viscerally feel it in their body. They would shift or move or squirm or squiggle or turn around to see me. And I started to notice that this energy of love is so powerful that it can heal anything, it can heal anybody. The lover is able to read people like a book. The thing is, he can ride the waves of pain and joy, both together, creating art either way from any emotion that he or she experiences or feels. As Joseph Campbell poetically describes it, amor en Roma. Amor standing for passionate experience, and Roma standing for duty and responsibility to law and order. The lover energy is thus utterly opposed, at least at first glance, to other energies of the mature masculine. His interests are the opposite of the warriors, the magicians, and the kings, concerns for boundaries, containment, order, and discipline. So I think this is what has got to be integrated for all of us. This aspect of the lover archetype merging with that discipline, having that surrender match that discipline so we can be these flow state catalysts, these savage shamans, these priest or priestess beasts. So really start to engage and start to understand, where is it that you are the lover in your own life? And though you may be misunderstood by society and culture, do not give up on your sensuous sensibilities, your ability to look at something, perceive something that other people cannot see from your unique, loving perspective. The interconnected synchronicity that you can create through your powerful aesthetic quality. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown, this little quick video. Have an incredible day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Let's go upward spiral.